Welcome to the station. Enjoy your stay.
Alright, welcome back to Space Station 14. This will be another round taking place on Wizard's Den's Lizard server. This time around, we'll be playing as a thief, but that's not really the important part. Well, I guess it's part of the story. I did notice that often my videos, well, often, I would say like 50% of my videos on Space Station 14 happen when I'm an antagonist. I guess that's because usually when you're the antagonist, you get to see a lot of the action. Of course, the rest, the other 50% is also when I'm playing other regular roles. And I wonder why that is. Probably because when you're an antagonist, you have set objectives, easy narratives, stories that can play out. Whereas when you're a regular crew member, unless you have a gimmick, like when I did my Teslas, there's not much happening, apart from you surviving or dying. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So, as you may have seen, our objectives were to steal the tag, steal a wanted cartridge from the head of security's locker, and steal beer goggles. I've already gotten my setup, my items from a stash out in space. It's the Breacher set, so we have C4, these Jaws of Life here who can bypass power doors, and the Syndicate set. So we have an EMAG to hack some items, we have a access breaker to hack open accesses, and we have a pack of cigarettes that can heal us. That's the important parts. And also there's some TC, telecrystal stashed somewhere, if we ever wanted to do a deal with a Syndicate agent. Anyway, so I've already made a somewhat reasonable escape route for this tag. Using C4 will be blowing into maintenance and then heading towards the nearest solar array to go into space, which from there will be heading to the automated trace station to hide it in a stash somewhere with our thief beacon. Usually hiding things out in space around the station is not a really good idea because people can often just go around and find it. Anyway, we're having a discussion with the current atmospherics technician. They say that they're liking this station's tag setup. I'm suggesting another common hated one. Most of the tags, the thermoelectric generators, haven't seen an update ever since they got a lot of changes. Like the changes in the temperature differentials, the changes in... is that it? I think that might be it. Oh, and the multi-pipes, the layered pipe systems. So a lot of these are outdated. Anyway, we're just waiting for the Atmostech to leave. Which is probably going to happen once they start this tag, because usually they're somewhat meant to be self-running, automated, if only a little. In the meanwhile, we're hoping to help him with the tag, because I'm about to steal it, so might as well have him feel good about it before I steal it. See its workings, and what doesn't work. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, about antagonists and the amount of videos I've made on them. I do wonder. I know I have a bunch of footage in my library, and I wonder what percentage of it is antagonist centered, and what percentage of it is crew centered. Oh well. Anyway, as you can see, the current thermoelectric generator, the tag, is making around 250 kilowatts of power. Usually 1 megawatt is a good tag, so it's not, it's working, but it's not exactly good. There's something wrong with it. I say it's pretty decent because, it's better than not working, which is when that's bad. But I don't have a gas analyzer, so I don't know the exact details. But there's obviously something going wrong here, because it should be making way more power. So I want to help him fix this issue before I steal it. Anyway, they pass me the gas analyzer, they leave. They leave the room, which is my opportunity, but I haven't figured out what was wrong with this tag. So I quickly try and scan the gas pipes. Here you can see that the cold loop is very, very, very empty. It's mostly empty. So that's what the issue was. The cold loop needs more gas in it. Anyway, we're going to blow up this corner of atmospherics and steal the middle part of the tag so we don't release a bunch of gases. and we make for the maintenance tunnels. On this station, they're quite hard to navigate, like way harder than on other stations. That might be because I haven't spent a lot of time in it. Anyway, we come across our first roadblock, this here conveyor belt, that we have a hard time moving around. So I decided to just disassemble it by prying out the belts. But this is taking quite a while, and we're not really that far away. In fact, you can almost see the tag from the atmospherics room. And there's footsteps approaching. And the atmospherics came back. I would say some weird words at us, asking us why we took the tag. I'm hoping that they have some way of letting me take it. Ask me if I'm a syndicate agent. And I'm not. I'm just a thief, which is a different type of antagonist. They asked to give them some telecrystal, and it just so happens that we took the bundle that had telecrystals in it, and it's literally right over there, right over this wall that you can see on the bottom. It's literally, we're next to the hiding spot I put all my random stuff I didn't want to take with me, which is stuff I was fine to lose, stuff I was fine with other people finding, or even security finding. But we go there, and the crystals are still here. So we can uphold the deal. I make sure to take a electrical toolbox so we can, if we don't hand over the telecrystals in, out in the open, we have an we have something to hide it in. Intermediary. There we go. Anyway, here we are. They have what they want. And we have what we want. They say they saw nothing, and they're just gonna go back to work and not say anything about the missing engine. Very type of pleasure doing business with you, but I'm too slow. So now we have to do the complicated task of dragging this around the tunnels. A chemist comes by. I try and find an excuse as to why we're taking this outside. It's weird, and I say that we're gonna be moving into space because it'll be better that way. For more power, for the best code ever. And now obviously they have to make a way for me, so I think they'll find another passage to take this out while we make our way here. We're, I guess, halfway there? I don't know. Well, we have another set of turns to take. And somebody else sees us. I just try and pretend like this is normal. And they don't seem to report me or anything, so that works out. Anyway, we'll be heading to space to the 8th automated trade station to stash this thing. Here it is. Stashed. It will not be discovered for the rest of the round, so we can just forget about that. Anyway, now we head back on station, which I'll show off just because... no reason, I guess. And we're now having to head to our second location objective, the head of security's locker for the wanted cartridge. The plan is to blow into it like we did with the tag, except for doing it from the inside, we're going to do it from the outside. We're going to blow into the head of security's room. Use our access breaker to hack open the locker and quickly take the wanted cartridge, stash it inside of our own PDA, which is really hard to find. If they don't know that we took that wanted cartridge and they search our inventory or our PDA, they won't be able to find it. Unless they take out literally the pen and the ID from the PDA, they won't be able to find it. Also, we find this cool cape, which may or may not come in handy. So, the head of security's room is next to this detective's room, and we have to spend quite a lot of time chatting and staying around here, trying to distract the other security with the missing tag. So we head in there, I do the first hacking, I hack this door to the detective's office, so it'll be bolted open, and now I pretend like I'm looking at the map or passing time, while the head of security and all of the security is just in front of this room, which I don't want to activate just yet. I've stashed my space gear in a nearby solar array, which I'll be escaping from. But without the space gear on me, I'm much faster, so it'll make our escape much faster. Anyway, they're really spending a lot of time here. I'm trying to guide them towards investigating the missing tag. And it looks like they're gonna do a full operation with it. Or not. I don't know. And they leave. So, we head towards the detective's room. The door is hacked, so we can just enter. And we place a C4 on it. Boop. So, I think nobody's seen us. We head towards the head of security's room, but the explosion hasn't made an easy way in or out for us. So we gotta do some construction work. Also, the AI saw us, and they're calling us out specifically by name. So now the security knows that we've done this. And because I think I saw the head of security heading over to the room, I chuck a grenade for metal foam walls to slow them down, while we escape in space. So that's the second item recovered. Now we need the third, the beer goggles, but security will be knowing that we're on the run. So we're gonna have to either find a costume or a disguise, or somehow make our way to the bar, get somebody to help, something. We won't be able, I don't think, we won't be able to just head in there and go for the bar. So technically we could be captured without any, without any compromising items on us, but I don't want to do that. So we try and fish out something to help us out in space. A bit later, I see some other engineering personnel come around. I ask if they need help because I need help. So it'll be like a tit for that type of situation. I tell them that I am on the run. I'm a wanted criminal now. And I have an idea. I'm gonna steal this other engineer's PDA and ID so I can masquerade as him, and I'm gonna leave behind my ID so he can masquerade as me and divert some attention while we go and steal the beer goggles. So I take his ID. And just now I think of giving him my ID, so I go back. And we head towards the nearest solar array to make a beeline for the bar. This is once again the same solar array I've been at multiple times. You can see security right there, looking. I'm currently not, myself. They won't be able to see that I'm me. They'll see me as the other engineer. Ask if I've seen any other engineers, and I just so happen to have seen somebody who's wanted right now, myself, out in space. I make sure not to talk because I don't have a voice mask, so if I talk I'd be betraying myself. Ask if it was myself, I say yes. I'm hoping that they're gonna have to go and get some spacesuits, but myself passes by the airlock. The security jumps on them, trying to catch him, while we make our escape. So, we've managed to deflect the blame for what happened. While we head on deeper. But it's only a matter of time before they figure out the ruse, and my cover is blown once more. So I try and escape these maintenance tunnels, and make our way to the bar. I'm hoping that by taking off the cape that I was wearing during the crime scene, I'll be a little less recognizable. But as long as I have an engineering suit, I can be a potential target by security. So we make a beeline for the bar. At least as much of a beeline as I can manage. And I try to hack into their back room so I can steal the beer goggles. So I head over to the maintenance next to the bar. And hack one door. But it's actually the door to the regular bar, a public door. So I can see now that behind the bar there's two doors, one below, one above. The one below seems to lead towards botany, so I go over here to the above door. But it's just a door to the back room of the bar. So I say to the barkeep to tell me where the room is, because I gotta, steal from it. And I can't find it. I managed to steal their ID while they're talking to me. I should leave it behind so they don't pursue me around. I try and have a look around for where the beer goggles are. One of the barkeeps is wearing some. Try and tell them that I need some items quickly before security catches up to where we are. And now we have to make our escape before security gets to us. One of the service workers asks where their PDA is, but it just happens to be next to the bar, so that won't be an issue. So we head over back to space to hopefully find a hiding spot and just wait out. We have everything we need, but we are a wanted criminal and I don't want to be arrested by security, and we don't really have the means to hide our identity much better than what I've already managed. So the next best thing is to hide in space. Because space is hard to search as security. You need to get their suits, which has to be either in armory or in a special room. Even harder would be if I use a jetpack to hide in somewhere off station in space again, because now that means that the security needs to randomly stumble upon my hiding location with a jetpack, which is very low odds. Also, our body double seems to have been done with security, so the jig is up. And they would like their PDA back, and they say PDA, not ID. I did give them my ID, so the PDA means that they're probably a syndicate agent, because usually you don't have, PDAs, either unless they have like an app, like a salvager's PDA having a salvage thingy app. Engineers don't have any apps. So unless they had, like, I don't know, they got the service from medical to get a medical app or whatever. Or the other real reason someone would want their PDA back would be because they're a syndicate agent, and that's their uplink to get their syndicate items. Anyway, security manages to see us from Solars, but thankfully they still haven't got suits on, so they can't pursue me back in space. So I make sure to give them their ID and PDA back. I don't need it anymore. I don't need mine either, so it doesn't matter. I hear on the computer that the cargo was spaced, which means that cargo will have to evacuate cargo, which means that the cargo shuttle could be vulnerable to being stolen, which I can use to hide somewhere random in space. So we're going to be doing that right now, right this moment, because it also happens that we're just next to cargo too, so it all works out. The cargo shuttle is not spaced. I don't see any holes into cargo, but that's fine, as long as there's nobody to stop me from stealing the cargo shuttle. So we just yoink that. And I can see near the station, but not on it, a little block, a little debris, a little thingy. Right there, right up from here. And I'm thinking that'll be the perfect hiding spot. It's not too far off station. If I have to evac, it's literally right next to evac, so that helps. And hopefully it's gonna have something on it so I can restore my air, so I can hide in there for the rest of the shift. So we make our way there. I can see that it's like a full-on location. It has walls surrounding it and stuff, and a disposal pipes. But now my camera just changed angle, and I'm not sure I'll be able to manage to get my way back on station. So I go back to the cargo shuttle, and I'm trying to align myself to have an easy way back on station once I enter the building. So I'm gonna put the cargo shuttle between the location and me, which means that I only have to go back the way I came to go back the way I came. Yeah. A bit at an angle, so we have some room to maneuver and a big target to hit. It's gonna be hard to miss. I'm trying to finagle it. I know that eventually cargo will want their shuttle back, so that won't be staying here. They can remote control their cargo shuttle back on board. So we ditch that and make our way to this location. I can see it has solar array, so it has full-on power. It's a power location, and I just happen to be an engineer, so I can maybe work with that. So it's a power location, which means that the doors are going to be working. If they have air, the air is going to be working. If they have items on the board, those are going to be working. I can see a microwave, a power cell charger. I'm looking for air specifically, because air is going to be our limiting factor. They have an airlock, which suggests air. They have a bunch of intercoms. They have replacement oxygen tanks, so that works for me. But I take a gamble and I take off my helmet, and boom, there's air on board. So I can just stay in here for the rest of the shift. But that can be pretty boring, especially if we're hiding by ourselves. So I just do a quick inventory of what we have. Here we have our solar panel controls, which I'm gonna guess is the same as on station. So somebody on station messed up with the solar panels, presumably. Try and figure out the angle, but everything is powered, so it's not like we're missing power. And we just got 10 kilowatts of extra power from this alignment. And seeing these intercoms, I'm reminded of something in Space Station 13, an entire role, being a radio host, a space radio host. As you'll usually have a space radio station, either off station or on station, with a mic, something to play records and music, a whole setup. And this, while not really, it's not the same, it does remind me of it, and it should be good enough for our purposes. So, let's try and start a radio show. Welcome, station, to Ed's radio show, once I say it. I'm going to be doing my best to try and replicate the same experience, but it won't be easy. When you're on the radio show host on the SS-14, 13, you have, first of all, you have a master comms key, or at least you have a key with a lot of comms, if it's not master comms. You have security comms, you have engineering comms, science comms, so you can hear all the conversations happening on station. You also have a camera station array, so you can check all the cameras on station if you want to see something, something. And also you have like a whole, you have a whole radio station. Anyway, I'm off station on my own radio station here to deliver the news and hide from security because, you know, might as well give them some clues, make things interesting. They'll know to look out in space. Somebody says that the QM is dead. So I report on it. The QM died. It was probably at ATS because nobody was on the shuttle, and the shuttle, you know I stole it. But I'm not going to say that. So I make up a story. The QM was planning to gamble, and the murderer used that fact to lure them on the automated trade station by themselves, which is, common. It's a good tale. It has morals and stuff. And I take a break, a radio break. Usually at this point you'd be playing a tune or an ad. And I'm thinking of finding online the ads that I saw on, that I heard on Space Station 13. But I won't be finding them until a bit later into the video. Also, somebody comes and visits us. A salvager who knew that when I just said a radio station off station, they knew exactly the spot I was talking about. They say air is limited, but that's better than no air. We have mag boots, so it's like we have gravity. And they already looted it, which means that all the leftover stuff, like the air canister, and the vending machines and stuff, are all for us. So I go back, and I think about if I could play music over these intercoms, though probably not. But the music breaks and the ad breaks would give you time as a radio show host to come up with your next segment. You could have guests, you could have interviews, you could have all kinds of things. Anyway, I try and find online the ads that I'll be playing, which I did find eventually for this video. So you'll be able to see the original, but I'm trying to remember them from memory.
This is Skip Overstreet with Nanotrace and Security Union, Local 476. Your local security department would like to remind you that we're just doing our jobs here, okay? People come onto our station all the time and cause trouble, and it's our job to stop that trouble. The chaplain go crazy, and now he's ranting about skulls and painting the walls with blood. We gotta stop that. Some jagoffs in red suits trying to blow up the station. We really gotta stop that. And sometimes we get some really weird crap on the station that we just gotta take care of. Like, I can't legally explain to you the crap that's out there, but let's just say it's some nasty stuff. And yeah, we gotta get hands-on with batons and tasers, but that's just part of the job. Just comply and you get to go home with most of your teeth. So stop with the pushing and the punching and the tripping us to try to take our stuff. Give us some room to work, because it would be a real shame were you to get a nightstick in a breadbasket instead of the creep we was trying to subdue. We just want to sort stuff out, then everyone can go back to their dang lives and work in peace. Got it? So this is Officer Overstreet, and I'm telling you to let security do its job, or else it's your ass in the brig. Got it? Because here at Nanotracing, we care for you. And because he signed the friggin' contract. Also, stop stealing shit!
Anyway, so I did my best to try and remember that ad, but I wasn't very accurate. Which is also double ironic because I was also, pursued by security for being a thief. So it worked on multiple angles. Now, back to the ads. The ad is trying to lure me onto the station for picking up a package. When somebody comes on station, I try and hide, but it just happens to be our salvager friend. This also happens often. Sometimes you get invaders or antagonists who have to kill the radio show host or do something, hide from security on the radio station. So you get some weird live segments where people invade your radio show and do stuff live. Anyway, they gave me a saxophone which could play music, but it probably won't be helping the station hear it. Anyway, Since I have met 2 syndicate agents so far and they're both in engineering, I try and make up a story about it. A real and reliable source told me that the network of Cindy's on station is planning a big hit. And I try and weave in some real elements. Security was distracted. So security was distracted combing maintenance for a young, dashing rogue. Which is not me. Meaning that the syndicate agents had time to prepare their plans. I know that, in character, I know, for example, that one of the syndicate agents has a higher budget than usual, so they'll be more dangerous than usual. Anyway, somebody starts screaming, "Call red alert!" Oh, woo, woo, something happened. So that came in handy. Good luck, station. More news at 11. I mean at 12. And now on to the next ad. Once again, I'll be trying to do it from memory. Not very well, mind you. So you get to hear the real thing.
Hola, amigo! Are you tired and hungry at your station, but don't want to make the trip all the way to the cafeteria? Just grab your pesos and make a run for your favorite vending machine to get yourself a Descuento Danito Burrito. Packed with authentic and wholesome Mexiterran flavors, these nanotracin approved and legally edible snacks will put some ahua in your belly and help you skip your siesta. So, just 10 little credits and you've got yourself a tasty option hombre. And maybe, if you're lucky, Discount Dan himself will leave a special surprise in your Descuento Danito Burrito. Boy howdy! So pick yourself up a state-of-the-art, self-heating, legally edible Descuento Danito Burrito today. Descuento Danito Burritos are a registered trademark of Discount Dan's Food Consortium, LLC, NYSE. Discount Dan is not a licensed chef. All health claims are subject to change without notice. All nanotracin employees are reminded that they signed a waiver before taking this job. Discount Dan's, because it's what's available.
Anyway. Back to the news. Oh, for the next ad, at this point I did find them online, which is what you're hearing right now. And what I'll be doing is I'll hear the ad one line at a time and try to, replicate it as best I can. Anyway, while we were playing that ad, a rod hit the station. It hit atmospherics, chemicals, and security, because engineering was talking about it on comms. But since they're not screaming and screeching over it, it probably means that it hasn't hit too much important stuff. So the rod impacted the gas miners that provide the station's air, and security and chemicals was also hit. But nobody's saying anything, so I imagine the damage is minor. The damage is so minor and the air is so abundant that you shouldn't check it out, because that'll be boring. That you should avoid the area. More news at 13. Oh, wait, not yet. Still good to see. More news at 13. Okay. Now for this next ad, I'll be replicating, exactly in chat, but at much more slowly. So, I'll just let you guys enjoy. Right now. Now? Not now. We need to get more ads.
Howdy there, folks. Randolph P. Checkers, Esquire here, and I have a question for you. Have you ever wanted to move boxes, sort things, and have good job security? Have you ever wanted to listen to complaints from idiots hour after hour, begging you to order their mundane crap for them? Have you ever wanted to put bees, monkeys, or murderous vermin in the mail and send it like a horrible surprise package? Well, I have a deal for you. Join the Cargo Union. Yes, the Cargo Union, because who else has the clout to get away with the shit we do? Remember, next time you're in line at the HOP, request an application for the Cargonian United Freight and Shipping Union. Remember, Cargonia needs you. and hail Cargonia.
Anyway, this time the salvager, who is part of cargo, which I hope, like the ad that I played, tells me that they've gotten a syndicate shuttle from the Syndicate 8 refugees who may or may not have arrived on station. I tried to move my radio setup on board, but it's way too much of a hassle. I honestly, I could not manage to build the intercoms in time to debuild them and rebuild them. Because they have to be built on the wall, it's kind of obnoxious to build. But anyway, we make it to evac, and I tried the same old trick as I did on my other TF video, where I also had to steal the tag. I try and go outside of evac and board, except this time we have a bit more experience. Except not really. We know to do it early, so I go there as soon as possible. And I try a couple things. First, I try to make a chair, but we can't. I try to expand the location, but I can't. I now have to make something that will be able to hold us, like a locker or a crate. I make a crate with the steel that we have left over from being an engineer. Make a crate. 10 seconds left. Anchor it on the ground with our wrench. And try and close the crate. But we were just a second too late. So we get ejected. But that's alright. We have a spacesuit, plenty of air, and things to throw. But we had a nice radio show and had some fun. That's really what matters. And we got all the stolen things still on us. So, onwards to new adventures. And I'll see you guys next time. Okay, bye.